Welcome to Helping Hands, the program that celebrates the people who make the world a better place. Coming up today.
A tool library? What's that?
The Petersham Bowling Club are a great supporter of the tool library.
They bring members to us and our members sort of see them. It was kind of a win-win. There was no losses in this at all.
When we lose that connection to self, we can't identify with who we are because we don't really know anymore.
We ask what it means to have an identity, and we invite you to connect at helpinghands.tv. The Inner West Tool Library in Sydney was started to meet a practical need of its founder, Amy. She needed a tool for some DIY at home, but she didn't want to contribute to landfill. She put out the call and connected with a community of like-minded people. In just 3 years, this one tool library has saved its members over $300,000 worth of power tool purchases.
Everything in the tool library has been donated. The entire collection has been things that people had in their homes, and instead of wanting to throw it out, they knew it still had a useful life, so they wanted to donate it to us so other people in the community can use it as well.
I had this in my garage. It works perfectly fine. I'm not going to use it because I got hardwood floors now, so may as well let someone else use it and make use of it rather than take up space in landfill.
Good. What do you got here?
This?
It's a portable workbench.
It is. Well spotted.
So popular, we can always do with another one.
Yeah, oh, fantastic.
Yeah, they're really cool.
This is a portable workbench. I actually picked it up secondhand. It was good for what I needed it for. I used it on and off for about 6 months. And then since then, I've basically been moving it around my garage. So I thought, well, I can still get access to it through the tool library, but it doesn't have to be taking up space, which my partner's pretty happy with as well. So I guess that's the irony of it, that now that it's here, I'll be thinking about it more often. I'll probably come down and use it. So, a bit of extra space at home, and I know lots of people will be using it because they can come and get it each weekend. Yeah, it just felt like the right thing to do.
So to become a member here, it's $75 a year or $50 for concession, and basically through that yearly membership you get access to everything in the library. And that's really, really valuable for people because they don't have to go out and buy all of these different items. Over the first 3 years of us being opened, we saved our members $324,000. Our top borrower in 2 years, he saved over $6,000 because we went through all the tools that he borrowed. He didn't have to go out and buy them. He only just paid the $75 for the year, got access to everything.
We've got a donation coming in, so we'll have a look. Wowee! This is a table saw that we got today as a donation. Most of the tools in our library are donations. It really helps the library to do what we do. This is also a really good example of something that not everyone would have at home that they might need to use for just 1 or 2 projects. The fact that they can borrow it from us rather than going and buying one themselves not only saves them money, but it saves all of the materials and energy that would go into building this tool and then stopping it from ending up in landfill.
The tool library is so important for the community because I think it brings together a lot of different people. I've just met, some really lovely people who volunteer here, but also I think in terms of the actual resources, it's such a great opportunity for the community to reduce and reuse things. You just feel more part of a collective than, going down to Bunnings and buying it and never using it again.
I probably come about once every 2 months, sometimes more. I've got a community garden, so I use a lot of the tools for that, including the mower. Camping, picnics, parties, and then handy jobs around the house like today. I've got an old garden bench that needs some good sanding, so I'm going to have a go today with the orbital sanders. Disc, I'm not sure. I'm going to have a go, so this is my first time. Yeah, come on over. You can join in and maybe we can learn together how to use these tools.
I've been really nerdy since the beginning about getting stats on the weight of items and how many times things are loaned out, and that's really to, demonstrate the environmental impact of such a thing like a tool library. I think we've saved about 1.5 tonnes going from landfill, so that's the collective volume of things in the library. We've saved about 14 tonnes of new items needing to be manufactured.
This is a hedge trimmer. We have a couple of these and they go out every week. They're by far and away our most popular tool. This one here has been used by 78 different people, and it'll get used hundreds of times in its lifetime. And the fact that people can use just this one hedge trimmer rather than all going and buying their own saves a lot of emissions, materials and energy from having to be used to make lots more tools.
After the break, the positive ripple effect.
The Petersham Bowling Club are a great supporter of the tool library.
They bring members to us and our members sort of see them. It was kind of a win-win. There was no losses in this at all.
Well, when I started this back in 2019, there was two, but now we've been really supporting others trying to be set up, and now there's at least, I think, about 30 or 40 tool libraries. We're also sort of helping establish this Australian Library of Things network, and that's really a peak body to try and support more tool libraries and sharing libraries to open up around the country, because I think every neighbourhood should really have a tool library, because then that community, everyone in that community can also access tools. It would make no sense from someone from Western Sydney to come into the inner west just to borrow a drill. But if there's a tool library out in their neighbourhood, they easily can access those tools and equipment themselves.
The Petersham Bowling Club is a bowling club, as it's really in the title, which is one of the things that we do, but we're more than that. We have lots of different activities, lots of different groups that come here. We're a pokie free club, and we have been for 16 years. We're a music venue, we're a life drawing venue, we have families here. So we're a community club is what we like to call ourselves.
The Petersham Bowling Club are a great supporter of the tool library. They let us use this space for free. It's a really great community vibe in the bolo, and that's what we're doing here as well, is sort of building that community resilience through borrowing.
When Amy approached me and said we'd like to use the space, the first thing that went through my head was, a tool library? What's that? And when she explained, I went, that's a great idea. How can we make this happen? And we could also see that it would be a win for us and a win for them. They bring members to us and our members sort of see them. It was kind of a win-win. There was no losses in this at all.
I first heard about the library from a friend who had borrowed a few items. What made me sign up is I met some people from the organisation at a local council event, and they were really helpful to tell me about what the library does, shed some light about all the different things that they've got here, and then I think I went home and signed up from there.
Yeah, Laura and the rest of the staff here have been really great. They're really helpful, and you know, that they've got lots of information if you need anything, and yeah, it's just great. Yeah.
You just point it where you want it. You put it near the branch, and there's a little release here. Put it up against the branch, get it nice snug right in there, and yeah, good luck.
Great.
And don't forget this other saw as well.
Wonderful.
Awesome. All right. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Today's been amazing. We've had heaps of members coming in and picking up stuff and taking things home. We've had the volunteers helping them out, helping them with projects that they might have going on around their home.
I love the share model. I love the community, the local community feel and support. And I love the savings to me by borrowing for free and not having to buy every time I need an item or have to pay for someone to come in and do it for me.
So if there was a tool library or sharing library in every community, that impact, like that scaled impact, would be amazing. So if people are sort of wanting to get involved or start a tool library in their own neighbourhood, the Australian Library of Things network is somewhere that they can go to start to get some of that information. Because if every community had a tool library, the social and economic and environmental benefits would just be amazing.
When I come past here on a Saturday morning and I see people queuing up to get their tools or returning their tools, it just makes me feel great. One, because we help to facilitate a great idea and that the great idea is working. But it's just such a smart thing. And I can just see it growing and growing.
So I think tool and sharing libraries already have just started to explode around Australia, and there will be more, and we need more people to help them in their own community set up. There's always going to be big stores, department stores that sell these items, but people will still always want to come down and have that community, connection. And also, they're not always going to have the space or the money to buy this stuff themselves. So I think the future of tool and sharing libraries is only going to get bigger and better.
If you are a helping hand or would like to see a helping hand from your local community featured on this program, visit our website and be in touch. We'd love to hear about the people and organisations across Australia who are making the world a better place.
Find out more about the Tool Library and the many financial, social and environmental benefits on our website. Check out the Helping Hands directory and click through to the Inner West Tool Library. Welcome back to Helping Hands. This is where we celebrate the people who make the world a better place. Knowing who you are and being comfortable in your own skin is an important part of creating a well-balanced life and is the key to knowing your own identity. Colette Smart, Keith Garner and Justine Whitchurch join Laura Bennett to discuss what it means to find your identity.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. On the panel with me today, we have Justine Whitchurch, a sobriety speaker and writer. We also have Colette Smart, psychologist and teacher, and the former CEO of Wesley Mission, Keith Garner. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Now Keith, when we talk about identity and how to find it, how do we do that? How do we find our sense of self and what it means to be us?
I think most of us, when we live our lives, go through a number of identities, and it's probably only at that point where you feel utterly content, if you like, in your own skin. And I'm happy with myself now. That's when you really find identity. Sometimes that identity is linked by what you do, by what you do, if you're a performer, it be how you perform. If you're a speaker, it's how you speak. If you're a parent, it's as you parent. All those things give you identity. It's important, really, because identity is linked to so many other things in our lives. And I think for me personally, I don't think I became aware of who I was until I was, quite well on in life, really.
And Justine, I'm guessing, there's lots of different things that do shape our identity, but can there be some drawbacks or traps we fall into when trying to define our sense of self?
Definitely. I totally agree that it changes, but I think that we can often attach our identity to things like a relationship or a job or a career, and, that comes through our basic human need of wanting to connect. And I think somewhere along the line, when we're trying to connect, we lose sight of who we are. And it does change. We evolve, we mature, so our identity is naturally going to change, but we can certainly attach that to somebody else, and not necessarily our own connection to ourselves.
And I guess in some respects, when we're younger is a really great time to start to build up a healthy sense of identity. Colette, in your line of work, what do you teach young people about how to discover a healthy sense of self?
Young people are really at the stage, particularly teenagers are at the stage where they really are trying to find who am I compared to my parents, compared to my peers. They're trying on different identities. And I think it comes from so many different areas in your life. Like you said, Keith, it could be your ethnicity that forms part of that, your values, your faith. There's so many areas that form your identity. It feels like this vague idea when we talk about identity. It's hard to actually pin down. But I think when I say to parents, and I'm asking them to really talk to their children about their identities, particularly migrant parents. Obviously, I'm a migrant, but migrants particularly who have other languages, I say to them, don't stop talking your language to your children. Don't stop celebrating cultural traditions and holidays. And even if your children push back on it, they will, because they need to identify as Australian. But some of that becomes so much of their anchor when they get older. And so, yeah, it's really, working with all those aspects.
I think sometimes there's even a resistance in the family context for not being what other people might want us to be. And identity can be a battle until it comes to that point where we feel, now I'm content.
And being comfortable in your own skin, I mean, that plays a big part in it. For you, Justine, like how do you develop that sense of comfortability in who you are?
Oh, I'm a work in progress still, and it definitely it changes over time. You know, I think there's been periods of time when I was younger where I was comfortable in my own skin, and then life gets in the way, and you know something knocks your self-worth down, and all of a sudden it's taken away from you again, and you're refinding who you are. I'm nearly 50, and it's just I've had another 360 life change in the last 12 months or so. I think it changes constantly with you as you evolve as a person. But it's interesting because there's been times in my life where I thought I held certain beliefs or values that I'd pretty much adopted from other people or other influences. And when I've said things out loud, I've realised that I don't really think like that. That's actually not me. It's like I'm doing it by route. And I've realised, hang on a second, I think I'm a little bit different to what I thought I was.
And it's good you got the permission to realise that, to be that, to go, I'm actually not, I actually am different, and that's okay. And I think, again, coming back to the conversation of young people working this out, what do you say to a young person to develop that sense of being comfortable when sometimes, particularly in adolescent years, it's not easy?
One of the most beautiful ideas that I've heard is from Peter Benson. He calls it finding sparks. And he says that children need spark champions. So adults in their lives can be a spark champion. So a spark essentially is that thing that makes you go, yes, when you wake up in the morning. It doesn't necessarily have to be your vocation. And there's a whole range of sparks. Animals, the environment, science, sport, the arts is quite a big one. And when children and teenagers are encouraged in their spark, they tend to find what they love, find what they're good at, find their strengths, and those get celebrated. And being a spark champion isn't hard. It's saying, whoa, you got new basketball shoes. Can I see a photo of them? That's being a spark champion. Just really asking the young people about what it is they love, why they love it, what makes them good at it, and what do they do well with other people in that scenario. There's so many ways we can celebrate that, and our young people open up when we ask them about their spark. Yet, in all this research around sparks, they found that a lot of adults have forgotten or neglected their sparks. I think our sparks can also change, and that's a challenge to us as adults. Am I doing things that bring me joy, that my strengths can come out, and my children or other people's children can watch me and see what that looks like even into adult years, rather than just being jaded and cynical.
Yeah, and I think that's, once again though, that comes back to our connection to ourself. And I think, most certainly when I was younger, I had a strong sense of self because that was me. I hadn't had life's challenges necessarily thrown at me by that time. And then we tend to go on almost like an automatic pilot. And when we lose that connection to self, we can't identify with who we are because we don't really know anymore. Yeah. So it's about, losing all of the white noise and all those other things that interfere with that stop you connecting with your inner self.
As you've made that journey that you mentioned before, Justine, of the evolutions of identity, what are some of the realizations that you make as you find new identities along the way?
The realization is that I can't understand or connect with my purpose and myself if I am not very clear-headed and in a good headspace.
I love how you said it. You were still your true self at different periods, because otherwise we have this idea that our true self is somewhere out there and we've got to aim for it, and one day I'll get there, and we don't actually ever then get to enjoy the moment. I'm not pretending I'm doing that well, but I have to remind myself I need to stop waiting until I get that next job or until my child is that age, then I will be able to do such and such. That was actually a beautiful challenge to me, what you said.
A challenge to all of us, I think. You've all brought such beautiful thoughts to the table. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching.
If there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed on Helping Hands, visit our website and be in touch. We love talking about the things that make the world a better place.
Did anything Colette, Keith or Justine say resonate with you or give you something to think about? Jump online and contribute to the conversation via helpinghands.tv. person is unique and has an intrinsic value, and being comfortable in your own skin is an important part of knowing your own identity. We are the sum of our life experiences. The people who we associate with help to form our worldview, but what about your self-view? I'd like to encourage you to spend time with people and focus on life experiences that bring challenge, happiness and joy to your life.
Let us know about the Helping Hands in your local community at helpinghands.tv. Send a photo or a short video and tell us about your local heroes in 25 words or less.
Thanks to Colette, Keith and Justine for joining Laura in the studio today. I hope you enjoyed seeing the Inner West Tool Library and are motivated to make a positive difference in your circle of influence. Visit our website. We would love to interact with you. I'll see you again next week.